Hello everyone, in this video we are going to show you how to install a Cedar Victorian picket top fence. What I have in my hands right here is the topper. This is going to go on top of each of the assembled sections to create that nice Victorian picket top style. Now a few weeks ago we posted a tutorial on how to build a wood fence. This is a great video to start with because today we are going to be adding additional instruction to what we taught you previously. In this video we're going to quickly recap how to install the assembled tongue and groove panel, but in this case we are going to leave extra space on top of the sections so that way we can put on the topper. It's a very simple installation process, and I think after you watch us do it you are going to maybe consider this for your house because it is so beautiful. It's becoming increasingly popular here on Long Island. Today we are installing it in 5-foot high. I know you guys are going to love this video. So we are going to start here at the rear corner of the house with our gates. So we have a gate over the walkway here. It's a pretty large gate because this is a wide walkway. So our gate measures 72 inches. We want to leave about 1.5 inches of space in this gate opening for the hinges and the latch. So we're going to set these two posts 73.5 inches apart. So now I'm going to dig a hole. Now we are setting the first gate post. Some important considerations about the post next to the house here. We want to leave enough space between the house and the post so that way we can fit the cedar cap without having to cut anything. Freddie started by tamping dirt around the post. Now normally on a wood fence we don't use concrete, but since this is a gate post and the gate is pretty large, we're going to put some concrete in there just to ensure that the post is steady. Now we're just going to top the hole off with some dirt. Now we're going to start setting the other gate post. Now this post here is where the gate is going to hinge. So there's going to be a lot of stress on this post. So we're going down a little bit deeper. Instead of going the standard 3 feet, we're going to go 3.5 feet deep on this post. Again, just to provide some extra strength for a gate this large. Now we have this hole dug, but as always, before we install any additional posts, we are going to set our string line. Alright, so now we're just checking to make sure the gate posts are level with each other, and look at that. So now we're done with the gate posts. We're going to start installing the fence sections. We're simply going to measure about 8 feet over from the previous post and then start digging a hole, just like you guys saw in the last wood tutorial. We got Freddie and Theo here, they're working on this hole. Now Freddie, if you want, we can mark the next hole and I can start on that hole if you'd like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you have some young muscles here. So when you're measuring a whole line of holes so that way you can get ahead of yourselves like we're gonna do here, you wanna measure 8 feet over, then make a mark, then account 3.5 inches for the post. Then we start our next 8-foot measurement from the second mark, where that post is going to end. Now just keep in mind you may have to adjust these measurements for the sections you are using. In this case we are using 8-foot wide sections that measure 8 foot exact, and we're using 4x4 treated posts which measure 3.5 inches exact. But when doing these measurements, make sure you measure your sections beforehand and adjust accordingly. Now we're going to begin installing the section. First you're going to have your tongue and groove assembled panel. That's going to go on the bottom. Your topper, the picket topper, is going to go on top, and in between them you're going to have a 1x4x8 cedar board. Now that we're getting ready to install the first section, there's a few measurements that we have to keep in mind. First, we want an 1 or 2 inch gap underneath the fence. This is going to increase the longevity of the section, as the section is not treated like the posts are. The sections are not made for ground contact. The sections are going to be 48 inches high. So if we go from the ground up, we want the top of our section to sit at about 49 or 50 inches high on the post. Then your cedar board will account for 3/4 inch. Then your topper is going to measure 12 inches. Then generally you want about 3 inches of space above each of the sections so that way the posts stick up a little bit and you can put the cedar cap on top. We already have it measured here so that way if we lift the section up to that line there's going to be a 2-inch gap underneath the fence. Now this process that you're seeing us do here is going to be exactly the same as we showed you in the previous wood fence tutorial. The only difference is the post sticks up a lot further on this fence because we're going to put a topper above this. Now Freddie is just going to put a screw in each corner of the fence. You want to put it in the corner so that way it's hidden. Now we are going to level the section and screw the other side the same way. The section is nice and level. So now we're going to secure this post like you've seen us do a million times. We're going to put some dirt in the hole, tamp it down nice and compact, and then we're going to repeat this process for the next section over here. We are going to install the assembled tongue and groove panels first, and then after we're gonna come back and do the toppers. Now we're gonna secure this post and then move on to the next section. Another important thing to notice is that we center the wood section in the middle of the post. We want an equal amount of post on each side of the section there. Now we're going to start putting on the toppers. So just like you saw in the last tutorial, we're going to put the 1x4 on top of the section here, and we're going to line it up with the edges of the post. Now we're going to screw it down to the section. Let's put it right here. Yeah, we want to just get it right in there. So just like with the sections, we want to center the topper into the post. Now we are going to put some screws to hold this in place. To secure the topper on top of the section, we're going to put a screw on each side directly into the post. Now it's really important that you pre-drill so that way you don't crack the wood. Then we're going to put just one screw going down in the center. For now, we're just going to do one. We're going to continue on with the fence line, but afterwards we're going to come back to each of the sections and put the rest of the screws in place, holding it down on top of the section. Now we're going to move over to the next piece. Alright, so you'll see we have it this nice and centered in the post where it should be. Now we are making our way down the fence, pre-drilling the holes for all the screws we are going to put into the toppers. We
don't want to break it, that's why.
Freddie just pre-drilled the cap there so that way we could put a screw in it without breaking it. Now it's time to install this gate. This gate makes for an absolutely stunning entranceway into the backyard. We use high quality stainless steel black gate hardware. I love the contrast of the black color against the fresh cedar. We use a strong hatchet latch that opens simply by pressing down the lever. On the other side are decorative T-hinges. Now we are going to show you how this gate is installed. We're going to put the hinges on over here. Before we screw the hinges, we are going to pre-drill them so that way we don't crack the rail. We are going to put one hinge on the top rail and one hinge on the bottom rail. Now we're going to put the striker rod for the latch on. Freddie is going to place it on the top rail and then he is going to pre-drill before he puts the large screws in. Now we have the hardware on the gate. We're going to carry this over to our gate opening so we can hang it. Now the idea is we want the pickets on the fence to be level with the pickets on the gate. So one of us is going to stand back and advise the other two people who are holding the gate accordingly so that way they lift it to the correct height. Yeah, looks good right there. Now Freddie is going to pre-drill the hinges into the post before he drills them. How are we looking? Nice.
Looking good.
Now we just make sure the gate is level and then Freddie is going to do the same thing on the bottom hinge. Now it's time to put the latch on the post next to the house over here. We simply line it up with the latch rod, close it onto the post. Then we're going to make a mark where we need the latch to be. Then we open the gate, get it out of the way. Then we're going to hold the latch up to those marks, pre-drill, and then put the screws in, just like we did with the other hardware.
Let's see. Look at that. We open it, close it. Well, they know that, I guess. They know how to open and close it. Right there.
If you are interested in having a fence like this installed at your house, simply text or call me directly at the number below and we can set up an appointment for me to come over, measure your property, and then work with you to figure out what kind of styles best suit your taste and your budget. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps us out tremendously. We release 2 new videos every week and you don't want to miss them. We'll see you all in the next one.
Bye.